Hey everybody, VMX here, and I'm sitting here at work, and just a couple of things I wanted to talk to you guys about. I unfortunately did not get to do an episode of hashtag Potato Cast this week. I wanted to, but I just didn't have the time to that morning. I was like, I'm gonna go on my exercise, and then when I get back, I'm gonna do hashtag Potato Cast, and I didn't do it because I started working on Kazarth stuff instead. And then I got into a meeting with Tanya, and then after that it was like almost noon. It was actually a little after time for bed. So I want to kind of do a FaceTime potato cast. Hashtag potato face. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. I think that if I don't get to do potato cast, I'll try to do like a video like this for you guys, so that we can keep up on things, because the videos that I upload, all the Let's Plays, all the video gaming stuff, that's all recorded months ago. And I try to respond to as many comments and everything as I can. I try to put like a day aside a week to reply to comments that have been left piled up. But yeah, anyway, there's two things I wanted to talk about, because like I said, I normally would just talk about them in Let's Play videos. That's what I would do years ago. But now that everything's done so ahead of time, I don't want to feel out of touch with subscribers. I want to talk to you guys about recent things. I want to get your feedback. I want to give you feedback. So the first thing I want to talk about is cooking with VMX. That was a huge success. It was an experiment. I got a lot of great comments on it. Probably my favorite comment was somebody who said that when they saw it in their feed, in their subscriber feed, they thought, it's too long. 52 minutes is ridiculous for a cooking video, and there's no way I'll watch it for a little bit. And they wound up watching the whole thing because they enjoyed it that much. So to go into it thinking there's no way I'm going to watch a 52-minute video of cooking and then to watch the whole thing, that is perhaps the greatest of the compliments that I got. And it was like really, really a lot of different compliments. People really did enjoy the cooking video. There will be more of them in the future. The next one is probably going to be uploaded 2 weeks from today. Can't say for sure. I'll try to keep you guys updated. But I know that the next one I do it's going to be a twofer like the other one was, where the end result of it was chicken soup curry, but I first started by making chicken soup. I'm part Italian. I talk with my hands. So it was chicken soup, and then the curry portion came after that. And the reason I did it like that, aside from the fact that that's how I make it, is I also figured that people who are not interested in curry, or not interested in Indian cuisine, or not into spicy stuff, but may like chicken soup and may want a decent chicken soup recipe, they can just follow the first part. And there were a few people in the comments that seemed to be interested in the chicken soup portion of it, or at least appreciative that I did it that way. The next recipe I want to make, and I was thinking of all these different things I can make, and for some reason all my best ideas are like soups and shit, and it is because I am on a diet. I've been losing weight, and by the way, I'm 12 pounds is what I've lost so far total, and I'm continuing to go, so that's pretty cool. Pretty soon the haters will have to find something other than fat to say about me. They can't say gay. I got a girlfriend. They can't say fat for too long. Get the fat comments in while you can, haters. Although I haven't had haters in like a while. I used to have a lot of them, but they seem to have calmed down. So anyway, the second idea is beef stew, and I don't necessarily want to be like the soup guy, but I am eating a lot of soup because it fills you up and it's not a lot of calories. And there's a lot of healthy recipes, and you could load it up with vegetables, which is great. And I just actually ate a little, here's my empty thing. I just ate a portion of the chicken soup curry just now. And, yeah, I just enjoy eating it. And I just enjoy eating the vegetables in it, especially the carrots. And that's another thing that I could use carrots in. And I hadn't had like potatoes too much lately. And potatoes are one of my favorite food. That's part of why my icon on Skype for so long was a potato, why I named the podcast Potato Cast, But potatoes go in beef stew. So I was definitely thinking beef stew. The thing is, I hate, and I'll get into this more when I do the video, but I hate stew meat. I think stew meat is awful. I think it's low quality beef. So I'll be using steak. So I'll first be showing how to properly cook a steak, and then I'll be showing how to make beef stew. And so it's going to be another twofer, and that's probably going to be in 2 weeks, depending on how things go. I'm on vacation for my healthcare job next week, so I definitely will not be at work. And at work is where I have the best opportunity to film this stuff. I don't want to film it at home. And the reason I don't want to film cooking videos at home is because the lighting in my place is pretty bad. It's fine for me walking around and shit, but for filming, it's terrible. This kitchen here, I'm actually at the same house that I was when I filmed the first Cooking with VMX. They have an amazing kitchen. There's great lighting. It was pretty much the best place to do this. There's some other places that I could, but I definitely wanted to do it. I also want to talk with my sister because I think we may do an episode together, Cooking with VMX and his sister, where I'll make something and she makes something. She promised that she would make me eggplant parmesan at one point, and that I would taste it and give her my honest opinion. I'm a huge fan of eggplant. I mean, it's got everything that I like. Cheese? Yes, yes, please. Tomatoes? Oh, yeah. More cheese? Yeah. Eggplant? Fuck yeah, I love eggplant. And I haven't had eggplant parm in a long time because it's not something that I make, although I can. It's just very time consuming. It's not something that I order out because I'm kind of stuck on my grandmother's eggplant parm. Nobody makes it like her. I've had it at restaurants, and it's always disappointing to me. Maybe if I can't get my sister to do it, because she says she makes it just as good as my grandmother, and I don't think that she would be saying that if it wasn't true. She's pretty honest. And she is a good cook, just like I am. We're both very good cooks. So I'll talk to her about that. That's a possible thing that I may film at her place, although it would be very noisy with her boys and the dogs and everything. It might be kind of fun anyway to go over there and do that. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about is Mcjuggernuggets. Now, I've been doing the exposé series. There's 5 parts of it, and a few people have asked me how many parts will there be. I don't know. As many as there need to be. The objective here is to really to not necessarily take him down, but to get him to admit that it's a scripted series and to be honest about it. I don't necessarily want him to stop doing what he does, because I enjoy it. I enjoy it on the level that it is very entertaining. But I don't think he should lie about it, especially the fact that his fan base are children, for the most part, the ones who believe it's... Because there are a lot of people who, like me, they know it's fake. They watch it anyway because it's entertaining. It's kind of like watching television or watching a movie. But the thing is, well, I guess TV and movies do it too. Because sometimes you get that based on a true story shit, and it's like extremely loosely based on a true story. And sometimes it's an outright lie. Like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not based on a true story. It's inspired in part by a real life serial killer, but the whole chainsaw part was actually Tobe Hooper was in a crowd of people, and he had this morbid idea of using a chainsaw to cut through the crowd, and then that's where the idea came from. And they later said, oh, well, if we say it's real, and it is like realistic to a certain extent that you can believe that that kind of thing can happen. I'm getting too much. I love talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's one of my favorite horror films. But anyway, like I said, it's not true. Their Leatherface is not a real guy. Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, at least with most movies and most television shows, you go into it, you know it's scripted, you know they're actors. Even things like, like professional wrestling or whatnot, they used to lie about it. They used to say that it's real, and these days they don't really do that so much. They don't really try to hide it as much, which I respect way more than I used to, because I used to think, why would you lie to people? But now it's like they're not really lying to people anymore. Anyway, Mcjuggernuggets may be facing some actual legal action, and I would have eventually gotten to this in my expose series, but it just happened this last week, and it's big news, and I wanted to address it because some people asked me to. Actually, I got a few tweets and things like that, and people have said, hey, have you heard about this? And yeah, I've heard of it. I'm aware of it. Basically, what happens is his latest thing, well, I guess it's over now because he's going to be working at his uncle's farm, his uncle that we've never seen before until recently. That there's this whole history of bad blood between them and they don't get along and this and that, but we've never seen him before. And I'll be getting into that in the expose when I eventually get to that point, if I need to. But previous to that, he'd been doing this whole thing where he's looking for a job. And he went around to these various businesses. And what's funny is none of them had a hard time with, the camera being around and him having a camera guy follow him around constantly. And I mean, a few people made some comments, but it's very clear what happened. What happened is he approached these local businesses and said, probably introduced himself, explained who he was, probably touted that he has nearly 3 million subscribers on YouTube and talked about what a big deal he is and how famous he is, and that he would like to do a video at their business with the premise of he's working there. He's trying to get a job. And that they would do the video and that it would help their business, it would promote them, it give them publicity. The problem is most of the publicity is going to be negative. I mean, because first of all, the juggies, the little kids that believe it's real, are going to be angry at these places for not hiring Jesse. And they're going to go after these places. They're going to call them up. They're going to make rude comments. They're going to leave them bad reviews. One of the first videos of these that he did was called The Volunteer. That's where he went to New Dodges Market. And if you look up New Dodges Market and you look up it actually has a negative review on Yelp that is clearly written by somebody who is a fan of Jesse. They don't mention him by name, but they mention him as, a kid in a ponytail, and they feel bad for him because the owners are being rude and this and that. And the thing is, it's not real. I mean, it's obviously not real. And any of these businesses, you can Google them, you can find out their numbers, you can call them, and you can ask them if it's real, and they will tell you it's absolutely not real. He just wanted to make a video there. And if you don't want to go through the effort of doing that, you can look online. On YouTube, there are several people who made videos of themselves calling these businesses, like New Dodges Market, Tony's Treats, blah, blah, blah. What else did he do? I mean, well, there was the hairdresser, but he never really put the name of that in there. There was the paintball company, and you could see that they'll call and they'll ask about Jesse Ridgway, and they'll all say the same thing, that it's not real. He just wanted to make a video. It's the same thing about people calling the police. Some people have asked me, one thing about the expose that I don't mention is why would he not call the police on his dad or his brother or whatever for doing things that are illegal, breaking stuff? Because it's not real. That's why. And but the thing is, people have called the police on him. Some of them were people trying to expose him, and some of them were people trying to help him in a way that they thought it was real, and that they were like, oh my God, this happened and that happened. I better call the police. And the police have said, we've looked into it numerous times, and it's not real. It's for entertainment purposes only. And if you don't believe me, like, first of all, calling the Elmer Police Department is kind of pointless, because all they're going to say, as soon as you mention YouTube or Mcjuggernuggets or Jesse Ridgway, they're going to tell you that they don't handle that and to call the state police. So if you call the New Jersey State Police, they'll tell you, well, it's been investigated numerous times. It's for entertainment purposes only. So none of this stuff is real, but he's going around to these businesses. And unfortunately, he went to Tony's Treats, which is sort of like a small business version of Dairy Queen, that they specialize in ice cream and sundaes, soft serve and all this stuff. But they also serve food there, like hamburgers and hot dogs and shit. It looked like a nice place. It looked like a nice little business that, they had a good thing going on. The owner seemed very cool. She seemed to take a lot of pride in her business and her products. And unfortunately, Jesse Ridgway ruined it. He most likely called her up and said, I want to do this video, and got her head spinning with ideas that 3 million people are going to see the video and 3 million people are going to know about her business, and it's going to be huge publicity. Unfortunately, Jesse's antics at this place have caused a huge negative backlash for her. He was doing really sick things. He was putting his mouth on the soft serve ice cream dispenser. He was putting his mouth on some of the flavor syrup. And dispensers, the containers and whatnot. He went in the bathroom and he washed the toilet, and then he didn't wash his hands, or at least he didn't show himself washing his hands. I hope he really did, and then he just didn't show it. But he seemed to come out of the bathroom without washing his hands, and he didn't say anything about, oh, I washed my hands after scrubbing a toilet. And yeah, I know, like, you wear gloves, but you, like, tell me, I'm in healthcare, and I tell you something, even if you wear gloves to do something, you still wash your hands afterwards, because it should be an automatic response, to doing anything with food, with a patient, with anything. You wash your hands before it and you wash your hands after it. That's just the way it is. And then he went back into the food service area and he was touching food and touching cones, and it made the place look like it made the place look bad. Even though I thought it looked like a pretty cool place, it cast a negative aspersion on them, because it made them seem like they have this numbskull back there touching on the food, licking things, putting his mouth on things, just being a disgusting human being in general, not being clean, not being sanitary, not washing his hands. And I mean, like, the one point that he did wash his hands, he wiped his hands off on another employee's shirt. And regardless of whether or not that person is in on it, or whether he said, hey, I'm going to do this and then did it, it doesn't look good for the place, because how do you know that that guy doesn't have schmutz all over his shirt? He was washing dishes, so he could have all sorts of stuff. He could have dish soap on there. And then, Jesse gets dish soap on his hands because he wiped it on the guy's shirt, and then he puts it on an ice cream cone, and then somebody gets dish soap in their mouth and could potentially get kind of sick from it. The chances of that happening are low, but this is the kind of things that people think about. They think about, that place looks dirty now because they had a dirty person back there. Even if it was all scripted, even if he had their permission, which I don't think he did, because the owner seems very angry about this. He took the video down. It was called The Ice Cream Man, but numerous other YouTubers have re-uploaded it. And I have mixed feelings about that, by the way. There's sort of two thoughts that I have. One thought is that I'm glad they uploaded it, because it makes Jesse Ridgway look like an asshole. And he should look like an asshole. Even if in real life he's the nicest guy around, this character he's playing is terrible. And he did something that negatively affected somebody's small business with the promise that he was going to positively affect it. And by the way, I know that for fact, because there is other YouTubers that have called Tony's Treats and spoken to Tony herself, who said she thought he was going to come in and do a cute little video. She was never planning on hiring him. That was not like a real interview or anything. But she thought it was going to be a cute little video and that it would help her business, and it wound up harming her business. She's getting prank phone calls. She's getting bad reviews. I actually, before this even blew up, I actually looked the place up because I was curious to see if this had happened. And the morning after he put the video up, before all this shit happened, I looked on Google and she had a lot of negative reviews. She hadn't been affected on Yelp yet, but I think since then she has been. And that's bad. And she says she's lost money because of it, and she's pursuing legal action. She's talking to some lawyers. She specifically said 3 lawyers that she's spoken to are going after him. So Jesse's actually acknowledged this on Twitter. If you go to at Mcjuggernuggets on Twitter, he says that he's not being sued. It's just a rumor spread by haters and trolls, and that it's silly. But like I said, it's not being spread by haters and trolls. It's being spread by the woman who owns Tony's Treats. He took the video down. Like I said, on the one hand, I'm glad it's up on other people's channels so people can see what he did. And I think that if there is going to be some sort of court case or some sort of settlement involved for Tony, and I hope this comes out well for her, because she seems like a good business owner who just got sucked into the wrong person's bullshit, is what seemed to happen to me, at least. She was promised a lot, and she was lied to, she was misled, she was misinformed, and she's paying the price for it. And yes, that's part of business. Part of business is risk. But part of it is also being honest. And if you're not honest, you shouldn't be in business. And make no mistake, what Jesse does is a business. He sells things. He makes money off of YouTube. He is an entity. He is a business. He has a company, Rigid Studios. I mean, this is all right in front of you guys. And if you don't see it, I'm here to help you see it. But, I mean, you could lead a horse to water, but you probably can't make him drink. But anyway, that's the one side of it that I think it's good. Then again, there's the other side of it where I think it's bad. It was taken down for a reason, because it was hurting somebody's business. And having it up is probably going to continue to hurt her business. And this woman, I don't think she did anything wrong. I mean, I saw one YouTuber, I forget his name, something rants. I forget his name. I just subscribed to him a little while ago, and I watched his video where he called Tony's Treats and spoke to Tony. And I didn't like what he did because he was being dishonest as well. He was posing as he was a customer and that he lived in the area and that he'd eaten there a few times, and he saw the video and he was disgusted by it because he's a customer. And she called him out on it. She said, "Well, you're out of state." And he lied again, and he said, "Oh, this is a company phone. I only live a few blocks away from your business." And then at the end, he acknowledged, after he got off the phone with her, that that was all bullshit. I don't like dishonesty, and I don't like the way he handled it. But he did really call her. He did speak to her. You can hear it on YouTube. You can see it and hear it on YouTube. And she said she thought it was going to be a cute video. She thought it was going to help her business. She didn't know that he was doing that. He did, the whole licking on things and putting his mouth on things was done behind her back. And she didn't know about it, and that they had cleaned everything afterwards, which of course she would clean everything. I'm assuming they clean those things every night anyway. It looked like a very clean place. But that being said, then after, when he hung up with her, he said, "Oh, she knows what he was doing." And maybe that's the case, and maybe I have too much faith in humanity, but I don't think she knew what he was doing, because if she knew that, she wouldn't have allowed it. She wouldn't want that out there. I think she would be smart enough to know if he does that, it's going to negative, and puts that on YouTube, it's not going to have a good effect on her. It's going to have a very, very real and very, very negative effect on her life. She said she was putting 2 kids through college. This business is all she has. And it's a shame that Mcjuggernuggets has leveled up. He took a level in asshole. Previous, all he was doing was lying to kids, lying to some local businesses, lying to people around him. But now he has negatively affected lives, real people, real lives. And I said the goal before wasn't to take him down completely. It was to get him to admit that it's real. But honestly, now I think the goal should be to take him down. I think he should face very real consequences for the actions that he has taken in hurting this business, its owner, her family, her employees' families, and also the customers who go there and now may have a negative idea about that place because she got mixed up with Jesse Ridgway. So that being said, I'm probably going to be going a little harder on this Mcjuggernuggets shit. I'm probably going to be taking it more seriously and maybe doing the videos more often, maybe talking about more recent ones on camera like this. So that being said, that's how I feel about it. I am aware of it, and I don't like it. I may even, if it comes to it, I may call Tony's Treats myself. And I mean, I wouldn't be able to video record that because, look, I have a camera. You guys know that because I used to do camera videos all the time. I don't use it anymore because it's old. It doesn't record in HD, and really these days everything's in HD. And I'm using my phone, which does record in HD. But I can't record on my phone and also record on, calling. So what I may do is I may use Skype and call her, and I'll be honest. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'm sort of like, I kind of think that this woman has probably gotten more than enough calls about Jesse Ridgway at this point. But on the other hand, I would like to talk to her and maybe see if I can get some information about what happened, what he told her before the video, and where the legal course of it's going to go, and if she is really seriously pursuing the idea of suing him. I know she has lawyers right now, and they're looking into it. Jesse Ridgway said on Twitter, "Ew, it's just a rumor. It's spread by trolls and haters." It's not a rumor. It's not spread by trolls or haters. It is something that came out of the owner of Tony Treats, Tony herself, her mouth directly. So that doesn't mean that she's necessarily going to sue him. I want to let you guys know that. So so he could say that it's a rumor that he's being sued because it's not set in stone, because he's not being sued until there is a subpoena and he's served with papers. But what she's doing right now is she's talking to lawyers, and these lawyers are looking into it, which means they're probably viewing the materials and seeing if she has a legal basis to sue him. And then they'll talk with her and they'll say, yes, we can do this, or no, and this is the kind of damages to expect, or this is the kind of settlement to expect, or no, you don't have a case. And I would like to find out. Like I said, I don't know if I would call her. I mean, then I would be going a little. Like I said, I do want to go harder on this. I would be taking a level up in this. I would go to the point of where I'm actively investigating things. So let me know in the comments what you think. Anyway, this is almost a half hour long. I just looked at the thing, 25 minutes. Holy shit. But I had a lot to talk about, and I had a little bit of time here. So, yeah. See you guys later. VMX out.